The reason for my lack of income is that I'm a full-time graduate school student. I'm happy to pay the bill if I pick a manageable location, but I've been finding myself in situations where I'm out with a girl who works in finance or technology at pricier spots. In situations like this, would it be rude to split the bill? If I ask the girl out, I'll pick a spot I know I can afford, but what about situations where the girl suggests the place? I'm not sure if this is relevant, but I am 22, and the girls I go out with are around that age too, usually in their first year of having a job. I'm usually of the mindset that I should always pay or make the attempt to pay on a first date, especially if I'm the one who initiated. Story 1. I would say, I'd love to go there, but right now my entertainment budget is more suited to this place. I'd love to take you there if you like. That gives her the option to say, oh no, I mean I'd take you. Or she realizes that she needs to focus on more affordable places. It's actually good to let people know you are serious about budgets. It shows you think ahead and are not impulsive. Story 2. Hello, girl here. To be honest, it depends a lot on the person. I personally wouldn't mind splitting the bill, but some do mind and have the mindset of, if I was invited, I don't have to pay. So be careful with that. I don't think it's rude, and to be honest, we're not in times where the man has to be the one paying anymore. Talk with her and tell her your situation. If she's nice, she will understand and go with it. Good luck. Story 3. As a woman, I'm happy to split the bill. Only now in my 30s do people go for swanky dinners, so expensive places really shouldn't be on the table at your age. Most people are still in school or only working part-time, so it's totally okay to go to more casual and affordable places. The best way to avoid this is to suggest a reasonable place and ask if they're comfortable splitting the bill. Happy hours are cheaper too. There are a lot of nice places that aren't expensive, like cute cafes, sandwich shops, taco bars, and faux restaurants. You could even suggest a coffee date first to see if you like the person, then move on to an affordable dinner. If she orders something expensive, she's looking for a meal ticket anyway, and she should pay her own. Story 4. I always split the bill despite having a real income. You do what you think is best for you. My one real tip is to be upfront about it before the date, because some women do not even take their wallets with them, assuming the guy will foot the bill. Story 5. 2 things to keep in mind. Rudeness is a matter of culture, and you get to decide or at least inform the cultural dynamics of the relationships you're in. I'd like to ask you on a date. As you may know, I'm a graduate student right now, so I'm not exactly flush with cash. Are you okay if we agree to split the bill? It's that simple. If she's not okay with it, those are her values, and she can say no, not interested. If she is okay with it, she'll say yes and probably appreciate the upfront and direct way in which you asked. Story 6. Paying for your date is a very American thing, in my opinion. Despite all cultural stereotypes, I'm Russian and female. Neither I nor any of my friends have expected the guy to pay for our meals. They do sometimes, maybe even most of the time for some guys. But we are always prepared to pay for whatever we ate. A very important thing, though, if you expect her to pay, which is totally okay, it is not anymore 100% your decision about where you will go. She has an equal say in it now, and the polite way is to ask her if she would like the place you're suggesting or ask her to suggest a place of her own. I'm glad to pay for myself, but I don't want to pay money for something I consider overpriced or just plain tasteless. Story 7. Hey, is it okay if we just keep things simple and split the bill? It's that simple, bro. Remember, you're a catch. She's as lucky to be on that date as you are. If she's not okay with splitting the bill on a first date, you've dodged a bullet because it only gets worse from there. Story 8. All the girls I have dated have wanted to split costs without me even asking. I guess I am just lucky, but I do not think you should be afraid to ask if she suggests a pricey place. Story 9. Etiquette says the inviter pays and chooses the place. If she is not happy with that, you can negotiate, I suppose, where she can treat you, or each pay their own. Just be open about where you want to take her before you are actually going. Big-ticket things like a concert could be presented as by your own. Story 10. You could tell her the truth. I'd like to take you to X restaurant. I would prefer Z restaurant. I would be happy to go there with you, but I can't afford to pay Z restaurant's prices on my own. If she gives you trouble, leave her. You won twice. You got to see the value of her character and didn't have to spend money to get to know her. Story 11. Why is everyone so against splitting the bill? Just split the bill. She is so much better off than you. Why doesn't she pay the entire bill? I understand that's not how life works. But in my experience, just ask if you can split, and she will be fine with it if she's a good person. Story 12. I don't expect anyone to pay for me, but the thing I would be much more concerned about in the long run is that we are at completely different life stages. Story 13. I am a 26-year-old female. When I was in the dating scene about 2 years ago, I always went halves. Not sure why, but I just felt more comfortable and it eased some of the pressure. After about 2 or 3 dates, I would ask the person out and say it's on me because I genuinely like to wine and dine every once in a while. Then maybe the next time the person invites me, they pay or they pay for dinner and I take care of dessert. Story 14. I have found that about 50% of dates I go on are with women who assume I am going to pay. Just keep that in mind. Loads of people are totally cool about splitting the bill but are not going to bring it up. Story 15. As a female, I just want to reiterate a comment I saw about letting the person you're going on a date with know that you are a student. Basically, everyone is aware that students are broke, but it also lets them see that you're not just lazy but are working towards something. Then let them know if you want to go to an expensive place, I'd be happy to split the bill, or we can go to a cheaper place and I'd be happy to buy you dinner. Story 16. When I choose the date, I make sure everything is covered. If I invite her somewhere nice, I need to pay. Instead, when I'm low on funds, I invite her to the park for a picnic. If she doesn't like that, she's not the right person for me. I bring sandwiches I made, pickles I made, and cider I made. It's not that I can't handle it properly. I plan the next activity in advance, so I'm not pressured into having a dinner I can't afford. It's all about ensuring you do things together, not based on money. Money is unimportant and shouldn't be a factor in a healthy relationship if your needs are met. Story 17. Keep it real, man. If you can't afford it, you can't. If she judges you for it, kick her to the curb. No real woman would ever look down on you if you haven't reached your peak yet. Surround yourself with people who love your presence. It will take you far in life if you make it your own now. I only realized it at the ripe age of 25. Been happy ever since. Story 18. This is something to be discussed before the date, especially before a first date. Be upfront with the person. Make sure they understand your circumstances. Have a suggested place in mind that fits your situation. Story 19. You are broke, sir. You don't go on dates. Either you date fellow students, or you let these well-salaried women know beforehand that you are in school full-time and don't have money. Story 20. Not rude, but let's be honest, a lot of women won't be interested in a second date after that. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but the reality is that many still expect it despite the equality rhetoric. Story 21. You have to be transparent about your financial situation, my friend. Some girls expect to be paid for regardless of their income, and some like to pay for themselves. You don't want to end up in a weird situation. Story 22. As a woman, I would ask for the check to be split. It always makes me uncomfortable to be paid for unless I know the guy is weird about it. Then I let him go ahead, whatever. I don't like feeling like I owe people something. Story 23. No dates should be about your personality, not about your wallet. Make it clear in advance in a normal and polite way, and there is nothing wrong with that. If she or he can't accept that, then they don't deserve you in the first place. You are a human being, not a walking wallet. Story 24. All of these politically correct answers further emphasize how different Reddit is from the real world. Woman here. If you ask her out, you pay on the first date. Perhaps a little time after the date, not during the second date, but during a phone call or something in between. You can discuss finances and whether you both agree it's better to split. But you always pay on the first date if you're the one who initiated. Even if she does the whole gently going for the check thing, even if she offers, you insist on paying and only split it if she firmly insists on splitting it. Because that's the general expectation and that helps set you apart from the other guys. People think it's about the money. It's not. It's about wanting a man who takes initiative, who is thoughtful and prepared, had enough money before asking to date, respectful and considerate, you being the one who asked her out, and her being the one who had to pay for or prepare new clothes, makeup, hair, etc. These are all qualities we look for, and paying on the first date is an example of that. If you can't afford to pay on the first date, you can't afford to date right now, which is fine. Make a budget and save some money up. Call it the dating fund. No shame in that at all. I hope you take this advice because what seems to be popular on this Reddit thread only really applies to the specific girls who answered. This is what's true for the general population of women in Western countries. Story 25. My boyfriend and I started dating when we were tight on money too. He asked me on our first date, so he paid, but since then we either take turns paying or split the bill. I now work in a relatively high-paying field, so if I was on the market and dating, I think that I would expect the same as I have in my current relationship. However, if I knew that my date was in graduate school or on more of a budget, it wouldn't be a problem for me to split. If you find someone that you want to date for a longer period of time, I think a lot of girls, including myself, really appreciate more thoughtful and cute types of dates, like cooking dinner at home or having an appetizer and wine night. This saves so much money, especially if you use Aldi, and tends to be a more comfortable environment for getting to know each other. For reference, I'm 22. Story 26. I never split the bill on first dates, though I always appreciate when the girl offers. In general, I'm a pretty manly guy and I consider paying for the bill to be a manly gesture. It's you stepping up, taking charge, and handling a situation like the bill that's due. If you don't care about that, that's okay. Just know that you'll look better to your date if you show you're responsible enough to at least have enough money to afford a dinner for two. That's my take. I know others will disagree. Most women will say they don't care, but there's no doubt that they will still be silently judging you whether they want to or not. I'll add that if you can't afford it, be upfront with your date. Let her know you're a student and you don't have a ton of money. There are plenty of ways to get that message across while also being charming. Story 27. If you invite and pick the place or activity, you pay. Now, if they suggest something more expensive, you have to be honest and tell them you cannot afford it. Story 28. Personally, I never expect anyone to cover my tab ever. If we just met, that goes double. That aside, it's about communication. I'd much prefer to have someone tell me their situation ahead of time. It shows responsibility, maturity, and the ability to be vulnerable, which to me is much more attractive than an antiquated view of gender role standards. Story 29. Female here. I think most women have no problem splitting the bill. However, my ex, who is male, put it well after he insisted on paying for our first date. First dates are all about point scoring. I think that sums it up well. You won't lose points for splitting, but you might gain points for offering to pay, mainly because it's not expected, in a similar way that a girl might get points if she offered to pay on the first date. Happy dating and good luck with your studies. Story 30. It is not rude at all. That may not mean that the girl will not look negatively at it, but it is not rude. If a girl suggests a place that is out of your budget, you can try and suggest somewhere else, be financially irresponsible and pretend to have more money than you do and pay anyway, or be upfront and tell her it is out of your budget and you would be happy to split the bill. Some women will be turned off by that and want a guy who can bankroll everything, but that just means they are not right for you. Story 31. It's not rude. The idea that the man should pay is an outdated societal expectation. Some women still expect it, while others will be happy to split, so it can be hard to gauge. Try to establish beforehand what the paying situation will be, to avoid any awkwardness when the bill arrives. If she takes exception to this, then bullet dodged and you can move on. It's best not to do something expensive on a first date anyway. Just grab a coffee or an ice cream. This also has the benefit of giving you an easy out if the date doesn't go well. Story 32. I think it's okay to say that you can't afford such a pricey place. Some can get it rough, but as a girl, for me, it would be more acceptable when splitting a bill without notifying me before we go. But I live in a culture where it's still mostly men pay. And I agree with people saying that it greatly depends on a girl. Story 33. Would be great if women just helped us out. I mean, I'll always assume I'm paying, even when I was in college, unless it's just a friend. However, if it's a low-key first date or casual outing and we're testing the waters, it would be good to know that I'm not outright expected to pay. Story 34. Dude, It's no longer the 80s. In this economy, you'll be back living with your parents in like 2 years. I'm pretty sure someone diving into finances academically can handle you asking to go Dutch. Story 35. Honestly, expect that all women are wanting a free ride, meaning they want you to pay, or don't ask them out. Anything different is a super rare bonus. It's awful. Story 36. If she doesn't value your time as much as her own, she's not worth it. Men being expected to pay for everything is a relic of a time when women were expected to stay in the home and raise children, where a single paycheck could support a family of 4 or more along with owning a house and car with only a basic education. Story 37. I don't think it's rude at all. I always opt to split the bill on the first date unless it's to a coffee shop for a $2 cup of coffee. I'm drowning in student loan debt the same as she likely is, and we both probably work low-wage jobs. It's fair game. My go-to date is usually coffee and walking around a park. You have about 15 to 20 minutes to establish compatibility between the two of you and determine if it's worth continuing the date while drinking your coffee, and if there's a connection, the nature walk gives you the opportunity to be engaging without breaking your wallet. I've honestly made better connections with women I've dated by thinking of interesting, outside-the-box casual dates that involve almost no monetary investment over going out for dinner. In the past, I've tried the fancy bars and dinners approach. In my experience, it feels pretty silly taking a girl out for a nice dinner only to be ghosted the next day. Been there and got the t-shirt. Think casual. Girls will admire ingenuity and inventiveness over some cliché nice restaurant. And if they don't, meet a girl that will.